So what happened, Nathan? You
So let
had
me
like a
ask you. No, what? Okay, no,
you had
go
like a
ahead. Go
3 day
ahead.
event planned, right?
Yes.
And now what is it? How many days?
I think it's like 10 weeks. It's just nonstop.
Right.
So here's, yeah, no, it turned into a thing that's longer. It started out, the first year was 2 days. The next year, I think it was 2 or 3 days. And now this year, I just invited so many people, and I'm used to so many people just saying no to me that they're too busy because this is the time of year when lots of people are busy, right?
Yep.
So I usually send out like 50 invites, and like 10 people will say like, "Oh yeah, I can do it," and I'll be like, "Great, that's amazing, thank you." And this year, I sent out my normal 50 invites, and almost all 50 people were like, "Sure, I'm not doing anything." I was like, "Shit, okay, well, great, let's just have everyone." So yeah, now it is a 5 day event with over 30 teachers, and you are one of them. So I invited you to talk to me today about that. So I was hoping I could ask you a few questions about what you did last year, what you're going to do this year, and then also what you've been doing while we've been staying at home, if that's okay.
Sure. Well, last year I had fun. It was great, great event. I'm really looking forward to this year. So many people, like you said, like it's awesome that so many people said yes because it's really like a huge event. And now it's awesome. But yeah, last year I did a presentation on how I use time code and snapshots, kind of one of my workflow things, and when I mix front of house audio for various bands. I think I was demonstrating a bit on a file I use for a client, Heim.
Time, not Haim.
Heim, yes, Heim. Like L'Chaim. It's their last name. So, but in any case, this year we discussed me doing a panel, kind of talking more about the situation that we're in, talking about the work stoppage and kind of where we see things on June 4th when we're having our talk. Looking forward a little bit, trying to talk to people in different parts of the industry to maybe just try to get a collective sense about where we're headed and what some time frames look like. So I did invite 3 people on. So far, I might have one more panelist, but Megan Holmes from Eighth Day Sound. She is a global sales manager. She runs the LA office there, so she's really in tune with how these big audio companies, these big production companies are planning and thinking and about how things are going to reopen. Jamie Criswell from Sennheiser is going to join us as well. So he and I were chatting on the phone the other day, and he had a lot of really good stuff to offer about our perspective on how manufacturers are thinking about things. And it's interesting because obviously manufacturers can still sell, and people still need their products, and so their business isn't totally shut. But obviously it's affected by this too. But he'll, I'm sure, have a lot of good stuff to share there. And then also my friend Ryan George from This Tour Life, who does a lot of great work on just talking about touring personnel, like myself, like a lot of the people that are joining on this Live Sound Summit. So he has a lot of really good perspective on labor issues and personnel issues with touring. So it'll be great to hear what he has to say. And he talks a bit about health stuff too. So I'd like to maybe have a little section of this dedicated to how to stay healthy during this time as well. So as of now, those are my panelists, and I'm looking forward to chatting with them.
But Scott, we were chatting about the stuff that you've done for Live Sound Summit, and I just wanted to rewind and just tell you how much I enjoyed your presentation last year. And it made me really wish I could go back in time and redo some shows where I've had a lot of sort of weird, complicated mix moves where I need to like put this hand over here while I hold this fader up and then switch back over to here. And I feel like so much of that could have been helped by just having some time code coming in and doing some of those moves for me. There were things where I had to like hold a fader and then flip to the next snapshot, and it just really opened my eyes to like next time I'm in that position when things start getting too complicated, if time code is available, which it was on this show and is on a lot of shows, then I'm definitely going to use that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's a good way to just like be another hand that does some critical things that you don't need to worry about. You can sit and really concentrate on what's happening in the room and make sure your mix is good kind of let some of these weird fader moves go by themselves. So yeah, it's I definitely use it a lot in my workflow. So glad you enjoyed it.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this panel this year, though. I think it's going to be really great talk. So.
And what are you calling it? Because I still haven't updated the title on the Live Sound Summit page. So what should we do for a title of the talk?
Well, let's figure that out right now. What do you think?
Are we doomed? Question mark. Exclamation mark, question mark.
I was thinking something maybe a little more accurately descriptive. I don't know.
Accurately, okay.
No, I don't know. Maybe just the immediate future of touring. I don't know.
Yeah, because that is the biggest question, right? Like everyone that I've talked to, we all agree like, okay, we all know 2 years from now, like things are going to start expanding again. We'll all be back to work. Things will be back to, I think like we all kind of agree on that. But what we really want to know is short term, midterm, what's going to be happening. So like, do I need to get another job for the next year? How long do I have to make my savings stretch out? Questions of unemployment and financial questions. So yes, I think questions about the short term and midterm would be good. So yeah, what's in the near future for touring? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think let's look at the next 6 months to 1 year. So, I think that's a good, because after that, who knows, there's too many uncertainties. So I think just concentrating on what's going on now and thinking through the rest of this year, I think that'd be a good place to start for sure. So, yeah, let's see. Let's say that the next 6 months from now in our industry, I don't know. Trying to think of a snappy title. We'll come up with something.
What do the next 6 months hold? Yeah. And I think this is important to point out because everyone who comes to Live Sound Summit this year, Bob McCarthy, Robert Scoville, Merlin Van Veen, Dave Ratt, all these people are going to say something about that, right? Like this is affecting all of us. Even like, the Scott Adamsons and the Poochers and the Robert Scovilles are also not working. It's not, just a few people, like everyone's not working. Mm-hmm. So everyone's going to be saying something about like, what they've been doing, how shitty it is, like what they hope to come soon, like how they're dealing with it. But your panel is going to, I think, just focus on pretty much that the whole time, like the business of how we're surviving and what's next, right?
Yeah, and in a way, I would like this panel to be a lightning rod. Like, let's talk about all that crap in a 2-hour period with some people that are, have good overview of what's going on, and just get it all out of the way. And hopefully the rest of the time we can focus less on that. So I've been doing a weekly webinar series with the Production Academy, and that's
great. Tell people where they can watch more of those, because those have been really good.
Okay, so yeah, productionacademy.com. If you just go to the homepage, scroll down about halfway, there's a webinar replay there, a button that goes to my whole webinar page. All the webinars are up there for free. I think we're doing number 10 next week with Kenny Kaiser's the front of house of the Killers. He's coming by. So yeah, tons of great engineers have come by over the past, I think 2.5 months now. So it's been really informative and positive, but mostly because we're not talking about our current situation at all, really. We're talking about experiences and what we need to know when we get back into doing all this stuff. So just like I want to keep those positive, I think probably a lot of people during the Live Sound Summit will probably feel the same way, I think, wanting to focus on the positive stuff and how we can better our knowledge and learn, and then hopefully everyone can just get together on June 4th and for a couple hours and kind of talk about it. And
cool. So it's not just a bitch session. It is a place for positive, constructive.
I hope so. But of course we all need to get stuff off our chest, and we're all frustrated. So I think if we need a bitch, that's probably going to be a good place to do it, right? So yeah, and of course we're going to have questions. We'll open up for questions to the panelists too, so everyone can write in. I want it to be an open discussion more than a closed panel. So we'll definitely speak to whatever issues people want to write in with.
Great. Do you remember the day and time, or should I look at that?
It's June 4th, 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe.
12:45 p.m. Central Time.
Oh,
Cool. And if people want to sign up for that, it's Live Sound Summit 2020.sounddesignlive.com. And make sure that you can register for different panels. Although there's just one ticket for everything, you can register for Scott's panel to make sure that you get a reminder about that. I think like an hour before it goes on, it'll send you an email and say, hey, Scott's panel is about to happen. Cool. Is there anything else we want to say about that? I think basically just it starts May 31st, even though Scott's panel is on June 4th. So you probably want to sign up ahead of time if you want to see everybody else's panels. Speaking of that, Scott, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the entire schedule, but is there someone who's going to be speaking this year who you would like to see, who you're looking forward to?
I mean, Robert Scoville always. I mean, I learned a lot from his previous presentations, mostly because, well, I mean, he's great, but I mean, but a lot because he uses an Avid S6L a lot, like I do.
Sure.
What I can mix on any console really, but like that's the one I carry out on tour the most. So, getting into some more advanced workflow stuff, I've learned a lot from him. So, it's always kind of fun to pick it, or to see what he has to say, and
Sure.
always pretty informative. So that's kind of my one I'm most excited about.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that one too. And I need to talk to him. I don't think he's titled his session yet. So, I know he loves talking about gain structure and console setup. And so that he may get into that this year. And he gets like really deep into it. Like last year, I felt so bad I had to cut him off because I made everything an hour. And I was like, you got to stop now. And he was like, so much more. And I think people hated me. But this year he has more time. So whatever he gets into, he'll be able to like get into it deeper. And hopefully people won't hate me again.
They won't, man. Like it's incredible you put this together. So thank you for doing it. I mean, it's so cool, and nothing else like it exists. So it's just such a phenomenal way to get access to all these incredible engineers and all that experience that if you collectively look at all of them, it's just so much experience. So it's really great access. It's awesome.
Yeah, and just to thank you for saying that, by the way. I appreciate that. And I think it's important to continue to have places like the weekly meetings that you've been doing that are not connected with the manufacturer necessarily. Not that that's bad. Lots of manufacturers and companies have been doing lots of video online recently, and that's been amazing. And I've kind of felt like, where were you guys for the last 10 years of my life when I wish this was available? Yeah. What if they had this when we were like just starting out, Scott? It would have been amazing.
It would have been much easier to learn everything for sure.
Right. But at the same time, it's cool to have things where people are not just kind of pushing the manufacturer message. Like, even though all these manufacturers are doing, training things, like they're still there to represent the manufacturer. And and at Live Sound Summit, I'm hoping people will feel a little less connected with that, and will be able to be a little bit more manufacturer agnostic and just, focus on education and focus on helping people get to that next place and answering people's questions.
Yeah, it's been really interesting actually, because I've been talking with a lot of manufacturers about kind of collaborating on some video series, and they all seem kind of really interested in the fact that I'm brand agnostic with the Production Academy. I would talk about the stuff I like using, but it's not like I have endorsements with these products where I'm pushing any specific things. But when I reach out to manufacturers, they all seem really excited to be like, oh, we would love an agnostic person. They're all interested in education, and they want to help build education, but ultimately they know that if they're putting resources into videos, it better be about their products, right? So a lot of them have been very generous with their time and resources and stuff to help me, because I think a lot of them do want to have more just general education, positive education. So I'm looking forward to kind of doing some collaborations coming up this summer. We'll do a little video series on IEMs with Jerry Harvey. I'm going to talk about some microphones and wireless stuff with Sennheiser, and then also Alan and Heath is going to loan me a console so I can kind of go through a lot of like audio concepts on the Alan Heath consoles, which I know a lot of people, a lot of students of mine use. It's a great entry level, kind of like mid-level console. So looking forward to doing those video collaborations. But yeah, staying brand agnostic is, I think, important for for me, but
So, Scott, to wrap this up, I wondered if maybe you can give us a little bit, maybe a small preview of what we can expect from your panel. I know you don't know exactly what you're going to say or what they're going to say, but thinking about this title of what is the future in the short to midterm for touring sound engineers, and thinking about the people who you have invited, what do you think is going to be one of the major takeaways? Because you've been talking to a lot of people already, and you have a little bit of sense of what is going to happen at this panel. So can you give us maybe one thing that you think is going to come out of that?
I think the main thing that really everyone wants to, I think everyone just really wants to talk about this stuff. It's on the forefront of our minds, and it's not always fun or positive to talk about that stuff. So I think ultimately, I think the takeaway is that we'll be able to bounce ideas off each other, talk about it, discuss, get a general sense of where we all think everything is going over the next 6 months. So maybe we could call the title "The Next 6 Months," and look at different parts of the industry, like we're talking about the manufacturing, touring, audio providers. So I think just getting a sense of where different parts of the industry are at, what everyone's thinking, what these big companies are kind of planning for, might just give us a sense of, at least general consensus about what we think is happening. I think that's kind of what I hope to get out of it, is like, what are we all thinking collectively? Like, let's talk about this and let's get all the feelings out. Let's get all the thoughts out. Let's get all the predictions out and kind of just see where everything's at. And I think that just kind of collectively talking and discussing those issues will all give us all a sense more of just kind of community understanding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And I know we're trying to wrap up, but I just want to also share that it has been so helpful for me to talk to other sound engineers and ask them about what they think is going to happen. Because as soon as I do and they start talking, I realize that I had this totally made up idea in my head, something negative or something positive, and it just expands whenever I talk to someone else. And I'm like, oh, really? That's how you view this experience? Okay, that's new for me. And so it's definitely helped me get out of some negative places where I just feel like, I'm personally going to crash and burn somehow. And I'll talk to someone else and they have a much more positive view. So I think your panel is going to be really good for that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, I can guarantee that the most negative views, the collective view of it is not that. The collective view of where we're going to go over the next 6 months is not sunny. It's not rosy, but I guarantee it's not as dire and dramatic as a lot of us are kind of feeling, if you're at home, you're not around other people, you kind of like let your brain go to like the worst place, right? I think collectively, there's no need to like live in that kind of uber fear. Like the industry is not going to go away. Things will come back to normal. So I think it just helps to talk with everybody about that, because the darkest thoughts are not usually the correct ones. So,
sure.
So let's at least bring it all out in the open and have some constructive conversation.
Great. Well, thank you for talking to me about this today, Scott. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the panel, and looking forward to your continued weekly webinars. So thanks for doing that.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, it's been super fun. Again, just talking with other audio engineers every week, just about mixing and stuff, has been really, I don't know, makes me happy. Because I've been missing the work. I'd love to do some shows right now. Yeah, actually, everyone is. I got a text from Fred Armisen, who's one of who I tour with sometimes.
What? I want to get a text from Fred Armisen. What are you talking about?
Like missing. Like, do you remember festivals? Yes, I remember festivals. So, but people want to be out and like in the same room as other people and doing shows and stuff. So I don't know. People are ready to go whenever it's safe to get back out there. I think we'll start doing shows sooner than later.